Ladies and gentlemen, what you see on my right hand here is my physics textbook. What you see on my left hand here is my favorite food. And I am very hungry. I'm your typical boy in his growing age, and man, I'm always hungry. I tell you what, my physics book, this physics book right here, has a whole chapter on heat and electricity. Let me read it to you. Lots and lots of pages. A difference in temperature between two bodies results in a flow of heat energy from the one at a higher temperature to the one at a lower temperature. Similarly, if there is a temperature gradient within any object, then heat will flow from the region of higher temperature to the region of lower temperature. Look, heat can cook food, am I right? Electricity can cook food. And I know that. But why doesn't my text or my teacher tell me how to cook this particular type of food? My favorite food. I, a boy who's always hungry and whose mom is a pretty pathetic cook, I should be learning how to cook my favorite food. Which brings me on to my main point here. Why aren't we learning what we should be learning? Now, why am I saying this? There are three main reasons. The first one, I've just mentioned it to you. We're not learning basic life skills. We're not learning how to survive as human beings. Yet you ask me, what's the effect of heat and electricity on things? You guys base your questions on nuclear physics, quantum physics, 3 different sciences, whatnot. And I have to sit these questions for 20 to 22 years of my life in my exams. Years. And then probably pass my exams, get a certificate, get a job, probably marry. And if so, I have to beg my wife to cook my favorite food for me. And if, just if, she's as a pathetic cook as my mom, then I go hungry again. I have to go home today. Okay. And then I have to hire a maid to cook for me. And then be at his or her mercy for the rest of my life. Ladies and gentlemen, eating is a fundamental need for man. And looking for food is a basic instinct. And it's not just cooking and eating here as a basic life skills. There are other life skills that we're not looking at, such as the art of failure. Now, what is the art of failure? Anyone? No one? Well, I initially didn't have any clue about this. But then I came to know about it, and let me tell you how. Recently, my friend failed his mathematics examination. Failed it. He was down in the dumps. In my words, he was dead. His very own mathematics teacher came up to him and said, "Look, it's impossible that someone could have done that badly in that test." And you can imagine his parents. They couldn't accept that fact, let alone speak to him. He failed badly. He did. But nobody ever told him that failure was an inevitable part of life. You cannot avoid failure. Nobody ever told him that everyone fails sometimes. Everyone in this room would have failed or should have failed at least once in their lives. And nobody ever told him that it was okay to fail. It's okay. Nobody's gonna kill you. Failure is not something to be shameful about, nor something to be dreaded. Definitely not dreaded. In fact, failure is an invaluable experience within our lives that could teach us lessons that no great teacher or guru ever can. J.K. Rowling, the famous author of Harry Potter, gave a lecture to a class which graduated from Harvard in 2008. And I absolutely love this quote. She says, it is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. In which case you failed by default. And in this lecture that she gave, she didn't talk about success. She talked about failure, and her own in particular. Learning from our failures, ladies and gentlemen, is such an important life skill. Such an important life skill. Yet our educational system just shuts its eye on it. Completely. Which brings me on to my third life skill. The art of relationships. Now, what is the art of relationships? Well, let me tell you how I learned about this through my own experience. It was a pretty tough one. My friend walked into class one day when I was down at primary school. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And he came in pretty stressed. We knew he was stressed, so we asked him, dude, what's the problem? And he said, dude, my parents had a big fight yesterday. They had a big fight, and I can't get over it. And it wasn't something to be shameful about here. It wasn't. In fact, it was an eye-opener for us. We realized that disagreements don't just happen in our household. In fact, it happens in every other household. It's not just us having the barbaric family here. And then everyone started to share their secrets. Hey dude, my dad used a sofa this time. No, my mom used a fork. And then everyone started sharing these brutal details about their experience in their home. And then obviously it was a joyful atmosphere. Relationships are inevitable. You cannot avoid a relationship. But why doesn't our educational system teach us what to expect from a relationship? How to manage problems that occur during a relationship? And most importantly, how to come out as a winner in a relationship. So that's my first ever reason. We're not learning basic life skills, such as the art of relationships, the art of failure, and cooking, surviving. Which brings me on to my second main reason. Socializing. Well, to be honest with you, I have to let you in a little bit of information about me. I used to admire an author, and he wasn't much of a big author really. He wrote a couple of books, a couple of stories here and there, and I'm not much of a bookworm. But I read them, and I really admired this guy. I really wanted to talk to him. I used to see him down at the gym in KB. And don't get me wrong, I don't go to the gym, as you can see. I occasionally go to the gym, and I usually try to meet this guy. I usually try to spark a conversation between him. You know, try to get to know him. But it didn't happen, because obviously he was a busy man. And it just didn't work out. Until last week, I was taking my dog Balto out for a walk. And obviously he gets really excited, and he breaks the leash and he runs off. Obviously I run behind him. And somehow we reached another person's property, another person's house. And hearing all the commotion and the havoc that's going on, someone comes up. Can you guess who it was? Yep, you guessed right. It was the author. To think he was a few blocks away from me. In fact, at that greenhouse. And I had no clue. He was next door to me all these years, and I had no clue. Ladies and gentlemen, I was too busy with my iPhone and my iPad to even realize the world around me. I was in my own world. We're also engrossed in our lives. I may be chatting to a guy in Uganda or someone down in California, but if I don't know who my next door neighbor is, what kind of social human being am I? To be honest with you, whenever I mention the word chatting in this room, everyone should be thinking about a Facebook chat, a WhatsApp chat, a Yahoo chat, whatnot, a social networking chat. Am I right? That's the harsh reality behind it. We have diverted from the actual meaning of chatting, which is standing in front of a person, looking them in the eye physically, and talking to them. We are engulfed in the world of the internet. We're also engulfed that we don't know the actual definition of chatting. And for those who don't know the definition of chatting, please do Google it. So that's my main reason behind socializing. Getting to reach out to people around you than talking to someone in the other corner of the world. Okay? And now, it brings me to my final reason. And this is happiness. It's all about happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, my parents, my teachers, in fact, all adults tell me that if I study hard, you know, an A star, you know, the classic thing that we hear all the time, A star, get a certificate, pass our exams, get a job, be successful, then I'm happy. So the main aim in life, for me, or for any other students on earth, is to lead a happy, contented life. But then how do we be happy? By being successful, of course. But then success sounds like something on the other end of the horizon. Something that you have to reach through a whole lot of hard work. At least that's what they taught us. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not necessarily saying that hard work is not the right path. But in this short life of mine so far, I've learned that happiness is a choice that we can make in our life. It's a choice in whatever life situation. We can make a choice which can lead us to our happiness. And let me tell you how I learned about this. And I have to introduce you to Superman over here. Superman behind me is my little brother. Charming little guy, but as brothers usually are, he is a pest. Yeah, admit it, Dad. He is. And just last week, my mother bought 2 pizzas, a pair of pizzas, as I remember. And I come back from school and I go to the kitchen to find 2 empty boxes. Now, I know it was him, because he's the only guy who can fit 2 pizzas in his body. Okay? I knew it was him. And I can do things in that situation. I can be very angry. In fact, I was very angry. I can beat the guy up and chuck him out of the fence, but he's gonna get hurt. And he's gonna get all the pity of the family. He's gonna be miserable. And I'm probably gonna be more miserable. And that's not gonna work out. That scenario is just not gonna work out. So, I can try my second method. I can go up to my mother and I can take a deep breath, go up to her and tell her, Mom, my share of the pizza has been consumed by my little brother. It's now in his big tummy. We can't get it back now. We can't. And I can evoke some sympathy from her. I could be like, Mom, I'm hungry. I can't do this. It's a worldwide method that works. And I can do this so much that she's gonna get me 2 pizzas. Believe me or not, it works. See, which method will I choose? Which option will I choose? The first one or the second one? Obviously the second one, because it makes my mother happy. She won't have to witness a fight between me and my brother. Not a fight, an assault, basically. It makes my brother happy. He's alive right now. And it makes me happy. I got 2 pizzas. What more do you want? See, it's how you handle a situation in life that makes it happy or sad, isn't it? But has anyone taught you this little secret that is so important to human happiness? Anyone? See, if you just change the way you see things in life, just for that one moment in life where you have to make a choice, you just change the way you see things. You can be happy for every single second of your life, in this short life on earth. Every single second. That's why William James, a famous American philosopher, once said to us that the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. Have you learned that in school? I know I haven't. That's why I tell you, we're not learning what we should be learning. So there you are. I've given you 3 main reasons to say why we're not learning what we should be learning. 1, we're not learning basic life skills. We're not learning what we really need, how to fulfill our basic needs. Number 2, we're not learning how to reach out to people, socialize, rather than talking to someone on the other end of the globe. And the final reason, in fact the most important reason out of them all, how to be happy in life. We don't realize that our own human happiness is something that we can make. It's a choice that we can make in any life situation. Failure to change. Failure, first of all, is not fatal. But failure to change might be. If our educational system, our whole educational system, does not meet the needs of every single one of its learners, it becomes completely obsolete. The failure to change can be fatal. Now I stand before you. Now I want you to think about this real good. Every single person in the room, I want you to think about this real good. And if you haven't already, ask yourselves this question. Why aren't we learning what we should be learning? Ask it over and over again. It's sad, I know. But do it. It might lead you to life-changing solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, why aren't we learning what we should be learning? Why aren't we learning how to live? Mother Teresa once said to all of us, that I alone cannot change this world, but I can cast a stone into the waters that could send many ripples, create many ripples. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've just thrown my stone. Thank you very much.